Everybody, welcome back with the Plat with Team Pocket. This is the Team Pocket podcast. Welcome to my co-host Laliette. Say hi, Laliette. People care about you.
Yeah, I do have a YouTube channel. It has 3 videos on it. So I got a comment saying, why don't you ever mention you have a channel? Because I don't really ever plan to upload. So just keeping that on.
You plan to upload. It's just not upload consistently. Did you take down your Dragon Quest tax stuff?
I did.
Is it privated or deleted?
Most of it's deleted.
Oh my god. Why? Just leave it there privated. That's history. That's Purplatypus history. Those videos meant something to me.
Podcast.
Okay.
Right? I kept any video with my son on it and all the podcasts.
All right. Well, that's fine. I mean, basically, if you go to every one of those videos, you're going to see Chase in the comment sections, which is funny. Anyway, welcome. We are the Team Pocket podcast. And yeah, we're going to be talking about Pokemon Pocket. Another week. How was your week in Pokemon Pocket this week?
A little more slow, but I was happy. I now can build almost all the meta decks. I was pretty lucky with my RNG on a lot of cards. I need a second Starmie. I need a second Venusaur EX. Those are the 2 cards other than Pikachu, but I don't believe Pikachu exists on my account, Pikachu EX. So I've kind of given up on ever playing a Pikachu deck.
He's gone. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. It's just been a bit of for me, it's been a pretty slow week for Pocket. I just I've kind of gotten through most of the initial content, and right now there's no drive to play versus other players other than pure enjoyment, which of course we play games for fun, but most games have figured out at this point that alone is typically not enough. So hopefully there's more coming out, but also Metaphor Refantazio came out, so I've been playing that. But overall, I've kind of experimented with most of the decks I want to experiment with, and I feel like the meta has been a little more solidified. But so it's been a little bit of a slower week, but not a bad week for me overall. I got some new cards without spending money. I mean, what else could you want,
That's right. I got a couple big wonder picks. I think you did too, right? So those always feel great.
I got Venusaur EX, and I got I wish I could organize by date collected, but I definitely got Venusaur EX. I got 1 copy there, and then I think I got a copy of it was like a Tangela or something. It was something I could not get. It might have been the Horsey that I was missing. I definitely have a Horsey now. So we're coming along. My current collection level is at 218 of 226, so I'm missing 8 more cards. They're probably all EXs, honestly. Oh, and Butterfree. But actually there was some news this week. There was I made a video about it, but also people in my comments were like, it's so nice that you don't need a VPN to play this game anymore. And I was like, what? So I was like, what do you mean you don't? And then they never responded. So I was like, well, I'm gonna go figure this shit out. And yeah, it looks like you don't need a VPN to play this game anymore, but you do need an APK at minimum. Also, me and Laliette were both able to download the game without a VPN from the Google Play Store on our phones. I was not able to download it from the Google Play Store on my tablet, and then I'm getting mixed results from the YouTube comments. But I actually, I had never heard of an APK before this week. So Laliette, can you kind of tell me what the deal is? What is an APK? What do people need to play this game?
Yeah, so basically you have to go to the dark side of the internet and download it from one of these APK host services for pirating games mostly, but in this case it's not for pirating the game, it's just that it was region locked. And I can't really recommend one to you or anything, but but there are some that seem more trustworthy than others, that might sell less of your data. They only sell 90% of it instead of 100. So do your research, figure out an APK, that you feel comfortable with, if that's the route that you want to go. Most people already got it through an APK. Most people were not Plat, and actually, because he went to New Zealand, he downloaded, in the New Zealand Google Play Store the game and had no issues at all. But some more devious people like myself use the APK from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, this is all green screen. I'm in New Zealand right now. But I would say if you want to use an APK, I mean, you could do your own research. I don't know, maybe you're intelligent, but I would say probably get on some Discords with a lot of people that are already doing it, and kind of use a group, mentality to figure out what people are using, where they say are safe ones and which ones they say aren't safe. That'll probably help. But yeah, so it sounds like you could play the game now and not need a VPN, which is good because VPNs, like there are free VPNs, but like there's so much like lag and like delay when you're using VPNs. I'm currently paying for NordVPN to use this. Not that I need it, but I just using it in New Zealand to stay in New Zealand. But even me, I'm getting a lot of lag while doing that. So yeah, so the game is not globally launched by any stretch, but it seems like everyone that wants to play it now can. And I don't know if this is part of them gearing up for like global launch, or if this is like them like seeing how much money came in over that first week or two, and they're like, maybe we should just like let some people play and use their actual cards now, because I think I could use my actual money cards now. I don't think I need to use some weird PayPal from New Zealand in order to use it. What do you think? Do you think it's just part of gearing up, or do you think that this was partly to get more money?
I think it's both, right? So I think, initially we had some server issues the first couple days upon launch, and that's 100% because even though they knew people were going to VPN to get in and they had prepared for that, it's always hard when you first open the doors, right? It's like you can only fit so many people through at a time, and you don't know the windows of when people are really going to play when it's a global based game, but you're pretending like it's only in New Zealand, you know what I mean? So there was a couple times the servers went down. They fixed it pretty reasonably every time, and I was happy with the team and their ability to handle the accelerated downloads and usage of a game that in theory would only have New Zealand residents. And I think they understood that they can handle that bandwidth of everybody. And there were some issues with different people in the community talking about how it was unethical to play early, and how because accounts aren't going to be reset, it's a problem. I got into a little bit of a discussion with 10 Types, who's another YouTuber who's like very good at evaluating cards and things, but also has a very strict moral compass, and he was basically shaming everybody who was VPN in the game, and he was very confident that like people were going to get banned when the game launches globally and they were going to lose all their money. And I'm glad that this is a step in the direction even further of Pokemon saying, please give us your money. We would like it. We won't ban you. We're not resetting accounts. Like, just enjoy playing the game and give us some better usage numbers as we prepare for global launch.
That's so weird for me. I didn't even consider anyone caring about using the VPN I care about people caring in a sense where it's like, technologically, maybe they just don't have access to a VPN for whatever reason, or their phone is whatever for other reasons. But like from a moral standpoint, I consider myself to have a relatively strong moral compass, and it never really occurred to me. I don't even fully understand. I understand they're like, hey, you will have an advantage in this game by having more time, so you'll have to spend less, not even less money necessarily, but it's like if you're a free to play on day one global versus day one New Zealand, you're going to have an advantage as a free to play player. But it's like, there's not a ranked ladder. There's no stakes. There's no stakes in the game. This is everyone just playing. You're just playing with yourself essentially. I mean, and then you can go online and do things, but it's not like there's now if they add like a rank ladder and stuff like that, is there a difference between people that got 28 days advance? I mean, we could take a look where free to play players are at now. And if they could put together a meta deck, if they add like ranked in another month or something like that after launch, maybe that's totally fair. But even then, that feels like it only affects super free to play players, or affects them the most, but they're also getting everything for free. So I don't feel like it even matter. I mean, it doesn't matter to me at all, I guess. I'm just interested to hear that perspective. It shows that different people think different things, I suppose. But yeah, where did you fall on that? Why? I assume you're more on my side, where you don't feel like you're being a bad human being by playing.
Yeah, I'm right with you, and I'm someone who, when you're raised Jewish, you kind of have the strict moral conduct one no matter what, because it's kind of beaten into you. But um, so I went point by point and kind of broke it down to, like, at the very least, what you learn to when you're Jewish, and probably when you're Catholic as well, but is you learn all the rules, and you learn how to sell to yourself that if you're breaking the rule, it's for a good reason, right? You can't just break the rules all willy-nilly, because that will, like, destroy your psyche. But you'll
Yeah,
at least be able to rationalize.
but no, I'm not breaking the rule. I'm a good guy. I have to do this. I deserve this. All these excuses.
So one of the very weird things they said is that he was perfectly fine with people who were in New Zealand because they were by birthright, given this beta, and therefore he didn't care if there was a few of them in the game that were ahead of everybody else at launch. And I try to explain that whales are going to exist no matter when the game launches, no matter how long they wait, and you will always be behind the people who pay money when you don't pay money. And so, like, and you are going to have to play against those people. But the way that Pokemon did it, with kind of like not encouraging VPNs but not stopping it, I believe is actually healthier for everything, because the big whales are in now, right? Like,
Yeah.
people who really care, they're playing now. The people like you and me and competitive players, like, in the tournament, series that you highlighted in one of your other videos, we're all playing now. And what we're doing is we're getting an MMR on the books by putting these games in, so that when new players come in and there's not a reset, like if accounts aren't resetting, there's no reason to reset the MMR structure, right? So they can just keep us at the higher MMR because there's no payment for that. Like you said, there's no prizes. So what you do is the new people come in and they're going to have to still play against the whales that come in day one on global launch, or the dolphins and all that stuff. But they're going to be able to play against people closer to their own skill level, while the whales will work their way up until they match free-to-play players who came in with us, and of course people like you and me ourselves, and then of course we'll kick them back down to where they belong. But the idea is that there will already be a large amount of player base all throughout that MMR structure, that will keep people separated by some combination of the access to cards you have and the skill level that you have.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like such a non-issue for. I mean, there's a whole drama in the current gacha I was playing where content creators were getting paid in in-game currency, and the players were like, "This is insane. This is ridiculous. The content creators are going to destroy the entire integrity of the competitive scene." And I'm like, first, the competitive integrity of a gacha game is kind of funny, but also people tend to undervalue how much whales spend. The amount of currency we were getting was a lot. It was enough to guarantee I get one of every character, as much as, always. But I could never max out a character. In a game like this, I have spent money more than I would like to spend, and I do not have a full collection. I still don't have Articuno EX, I'm missing 8 cards, and they're 8 meta relevant cards and Butterfree, So it's like, I don't know, I'm happy you brought that up, because that wasn't something we talked about as the topics in general. But I had never even considered someone considering it super unfair. I could understand someone thinking it's unfair if there were real stakes, but there are 0 stakes. Even in like Marvel Snap, I don't think the beta players got their stuff reset, did they, when the game fully globally launched? Like, they already were Series 3 complete. I'm pretty sure.
I don't really know, to be honest.
And it's maybe I'm speaking out my ass there, but I don't believe there was a reset during global launch. And it's like, it just doesn't matter, right?
Most games do a reset, but then give the global players a ton of packs, right? So it's like, it's semantics kind of on those. All it does is kind of like randomize their account, but they're going to dust things and like work towards, this game really has a hard grip on diverse collections, right? Because it's just so hard to get a Charmeleon, like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever it is, you're not guaranteed certain cards. And as somebody who put $100 into the game, not having any Pikachu EXs when that's like the meta deck to play is disappointing.
Yeah. One thing I'm actually kind of interested in is because I think I looked up, the population of New Zealand is like 5 million, a little over 5 million people. That's like California. That's not even California, right? In the United States. It's like, how many people in New Zealand do you think would have downloaded this game? Like, our real Pokemon? Like, you think it's 10,000 people even in New Zealand? Like
I think
that?
it's more than that.
You think it's?
They did the Pokemon Go pre-release in New Zealand as well,
Yeah, but
and I also went to New Zealand for that.
I can't imagine it being even 10,000 players. Maybe I'm way off. And even then, I bet Pokemon Go was more. That has, in my opinion, way wider appeal. Like, it's an exercise kind of game. It's a game that gets you outside. You don't need to have, card games are inherently more niche, I think, than almost every other type of game. Although, I mean, they're popular, but I mean, like, so, I mean,
I think the fact that that happened so long ago kind of like moved a lot of people towards Pokemon that might have never played a Pokemon game. So this will have a bigger launch than it would have if Pokemon Go never existed.
So kind of what I guess mainly what I'm kind of pointing at is that I think they obviously purposely didn't block VPNs. They didn't put that much effort into blocking it because they probably want bigger than what they thought they would get in New Zealand, but not so big as they would get at a global launch, right? They probably wanted a wider net of numbers to work with and kind of get feedback on.
They were prepared for it. It is an industry standard to do soft launches or beta, etc., in New Zealand because of a very small player base, because it's a very set number of hours, which makes it easy to do, patches and stuff during the hours that your company works and is actually in the office during the day. There's a lot of benefits that come to doing this, but they 100% were ready for VPNs. They even made a tweet that joked about how many new NZ residents are playing the game, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, this is the long and short of it. Let's say they were let's say New Zealand would have had, I don't know, 10,000 people or whatever. Like, I'm sure they must have gotten 10x what New Zealand alone with no VPNs would have gotten, like, just from around the world. And there was not I haven't had a single server hiccup in my entire time playing, even once, even on day one, right when it came out. Like, I had no problem downloading the game, getting into the game, and playing the game, which implies to me that they have it, like, they had enough servers up to handle way more than they would have needed. So it implies to me that they kind of wanted more people in anyway, which is why they did it the way they did it. They didn't want just New Zealand. They wanted new New Zealand residents as well, basically.
That's right. And don't forget that it did originally go down. It launched a few hours early than when it was announced that it was going to launch.
You're right.
And it went down.
There was like an hour or two afterwards.
And I believe it was 5 or 6 hours that the game was down for. But I was sleeping the whole time, so I didn't really care.
Yeah, I didn't care. I was at work, and by the time I got off, I think it was back up again. Maybe it was the next morning. I don't know. But I still think, even with their planning and they knew that it was going to be a lot more than just New Zealand people, I still think this game was way bigger than they were expecting for their soft launch. I don't know if we have numbers, and I don't know if we can gauge their reaction, but there's just so many people that are spending so much money in this game. I mean, there's people spending $900, $1,000 to day one, max their account. You can't spend $900 in 2 days. They've been spending max money every day for a week or 2 weeks to max out their accounts to have every single version of every single card. So this game has been a huge success financially for the investment they put in. I wouldn't be surprised if they're already approaching, maybe not profitability, but maybe approaching breaking even. And the game is not even out yet. Like you said, it's a soft launch in a country with 5 million people. I love New Zealand, but 5 million people, that is a small country when it comes to what I think of when I think of the United States, right? Like, that's like a state. New Zealand is like a state, a big state, but a state.
I'm not even a big state. I'm pretty confident that the city of New York has more people.
Yeah, I mean, if it has a lot of landmass for that many people. New Zealand must be fucking beautiful. There is not that many people living on that area. I mean,
you've seen Lord of the Rings, right? That was shot over there. So 8.3 million people in New York. You know what I mean? So it's that many people spread out over a landmass that I'm guessing is larger than Tennessee.
It's larger than, you could fit like 10 Californias inside of New Zealand, probably.
That doesn't sound right, but I'm not gonna fact check it.
I'm going off a visual that I saw, not off actual size numbers, but someone took the picture of California and put it in New Zealand, and they were like, look how small that is compared to New Zealand. And it was like,
that was crazy.
So I mean, it was like, wow, that's really small. Or you know, it's sorry, the amount of population is really small. But either way, this game has been like a huge success, which is fantastic. So good job. Is it Niantic that makes this game too, or is someone totally different?
No, someone totally different.
Who's making this one?
I just had it pulled up. Give me a second.
Because I'm kind of curious how their other projects are. Because like, this is the thing. If the pre-launch is going so good, I mean, this could reevaluate their. This could basically make them reevaluate their roadmap, right? Like, if this game if this game launches, pre-launches is super successful, and then globally launches is hugely successful, they are going to revamp the roadmap like that. They're going to go from like monthly releases to like, hey, we have an event every week. You know, we have a new. They're going to completely ramp up the content if the game is successful, and it will completely shift the future of what the game looks like. As opposed to if it's just like a collection where you sit there and you look at your cards, versus if this is a real game people want to log into and play every single day.
Yeah. So like some of the things to talk about off rip. So we're roughly 3 weeks into the soft launch. The game is not out yet. The game will not be out next week. It will not be out the week after that. It'll be out in like 3 weeks almost, right? So
yes.
Okay. So it's already #1 in free card games on the Google Play Store, which of course is over like the 1 week time frame or whatever in like sales or whatever. Then we also have 10,000 plus downloads through Google Play, right? And I'm going to guess that Apple has a similar number of downloads. And then most of the downloads were done through APKs, right? So
yeah.
How many players are there out there? I don't really know, but I would guess somewhere upwards of 100,000. With how many people watch our videos or your videos or other people's videos that I watch, there is a large amount of interest. And I would say most of the people are playing the game. Some of them aren't, right? There's people who will say, you know, I'm waiting for launch, whatever. So I'm pretty impressed already by like the fact that it's #1 trending in sales for the week. I didn't spend any money in the last week, and you might have not either, right? We spent our money like immediately.
Yes.
And it is technically through the Pokemon company is what is, you know, launching the app.
You're right. You're right.
But
and then there's probably a couple hands in that pie. But so it sounds like if I had to give it a range, a realistic range, it sounds like somewhere in the ballpark of 50,000 on the low end to 100,000 on the higher end of downloads.
Yeah.
As far as like,
DNA, of course, is the one. It comes up on the screen every time.
Yes.
They are the ones who are actually like doing the building of the game.
Can I say whoever is in charge right now? One of the things I think they're doing great at is choosing the artwork for different cards. Like the Snorlax and the Bellsprout have in the Venonat and like the Oddish, like all being part of like the same bigger picture from different perspectives is like such a good idea. And there's some like I don't like, it doesn't even make sense, but just having like let me show it on a screen here for everyone else. Is like just like Electrode is just like a ball of yarn. Like it's like it doesn't make sense with the rest of the stuff, but like I would say they're doing really, really good decisions art wise.
Yeah. Look at that Electric real quick. Like go up. I know no one cares about that Pokemon, but the stage 1 version of like just go down a little bit. It's right there on the right. Right there.
Oh, this guy.
Electric. Like look at that art style. Like wonderful. And then you have the very like CGI bright colors saturation of the Electros, right? And I think that's a claymation version of the baby I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's like Timarno or something. So just within that one line, you have like a claymation, a really cool artistic expression, and then the CGI like make sure it looks really pretty and bright.
Yeah, I mean, overall, they've just been doing a great job. Now, I am hoping that it's funny for me because this game can go two directions. Like, it feels like this game was initially built and promoted as a collection game, first and foremost. What is this game? It's a collection game. It's a game where you come back daily to open booster packs and watch your collection grow. And then you get to make binders. You get to put your favorite card into a special thing to show people. You could share your binders with other people. I mean, they added a crazy amount of like fancy looking cards. So for me, it kind of feels like, also, this is such a good Snorlax because you could see the other Pokemon that it sees in it's such a good thing. But it kind of makes you wonder, like, did they add the ability to play as almost a secondary thought to the game, where they like making an NFT collector, and they needed like, hey, we need to have these have functionality. And then, I mean, look, collecting is great, but I think what really is going to make people money is, like they said, is like caring about playing the game and having collecting. Because like, I think they realize, like, yes, having the coolest Charizard in the game is cool, but if it's not a game and you just have it, it's much less cool than when you get to throw down that Charizard against someone and then you're like, shing, like, look at that, you know? Showing off is such a huge aspect of this game. So I'm kind of hoping that they double down, triple down, quadruple down on the game, the card game aspects of it, and kind of really focus on maybe even rebalancing cards, maybe even like doing competitive stuff and doing lots of fun content to play the game with. And I think they already have all the mechanisms in place for the collectible aspects that they need. I don't really feel like they need to expand these systems that much. Whereas the gameplay itself, I think, does, because the game is kind of lacking things to do inside of it besides collecting. What do you think about that?
Yes, I am in total agreement. So, some things have been leaked from the people who signed the NDA, the non-disclosure agreements for going to the, I believe it was in LA, the pre-launch event way before the soft launch, to kind of look at a build of the game, right? And in that build of the game, there have been reports of many more events, right? What do you call that? Wonder Pick event, right? Where there might be one Pokemon that you can only get through Wonder Picks, and then that will just kind of like show up and override a common card sometimes.
You think it'll be the same currency, or they'll have a special Wonder Pick currency, like that'll be hand in hand?
I don't know, but I don't think they would come up with a new currency. I don't think there's necessarily.
I mean, I was thinking, because they could do hourglasses or blue hourglasses. You know, they could have like a different color hourglass. But maybe not.
Then there will be events that go with that. So it might work something like, if you do 5 picks, you're going to unlock a specific card. In the corner of the card, if it's not a full art, but you know, the corner of the regular size card, there will be a box that will represent that it is a card that was obtained with an alternate art, or maybe it's just a slightly different version of another card that already exists, that you got from the events of the Wonder Pick. There will be another event similar to that, where you get, under some system, whether it's in a shop, whether it's from doing actual gameplay and earning these things, but there will be promo packs, right? So promo packs are referenced in some of the material that was looked at. So this is like something that someone said that they knew a friend that said this to them, through the NDA or whatever, and then it also happened to be grabbed by the data leak when people were looking at the back end of the game, right? So that was seen, through 2 different methods. So I do expect there to be promo packs, and then we've also seen the promo packs cards and their alternative arts, for the most part, couple that are just like a Mankey with 10 less HP that damages itself, right? Opposed to the Mankey that we currently have that doesn't do damage to itself, so that doesn't really set it up for the Primate attack. but those will also have a little square in the corner that represents, and I do think the square being in the picture is really annoying. I would like that square to be down by like where the rarity has always been on Pokemon cards in the lower right, because it's just filling up. Like for a regular card like Professor's Research, that square is going to go from like the edge of his shirt on that like hand all the way to like the corner of the box, not that hand, but the other one with the book.
Okay, so it's like down here.
There, it's gonna be right there, and that just kind of obfuscates part of the picture, which is really annoying to me. Do I need to see those books on the shelf? No, but it feels bad to have those covered up by a promo. You know,
it's kind of weird because this is a promo card. This is considered promo.
It's not from a promo pack.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there's going to be promo set A, and then when set 2 launches, presumably there'd be promo set B, but there's going to be these individual promo packs which you might be able to buy with the shop. Like I wouldn't be surprised if you could buy some amount of them just straight from the shop with your little shop tokens or tickets as they're called. But I don't think you'll be guaranteed certain promo cards, so you might have to buy a lot of those packs because some cards might be rarer than others to collect all of this specific promo pack stuff. And it could just be called promo B, right? They could call the promo pack stuff that. So there is some cool stuff that has been leaked out about the beginning of the game. Also, I've heard a lot of rumors about a set for Halloween. And we know that for a couple of years now, they've sold physical cards that just suck, but they come in these like little like prepackaged 5-card things, and you can give them out to kids.
I have one in my house right now. I bought like a promo pack from the Target. When I went to Target, they had it like sitting on the shelf there because I was getting some other stuff, and I was like, you know what? I'm playing Pocket right now. Maybe they'll add some integration. I don't know. So I thought it'd be fun. So I bought some Pokemon cards. So Pokemon's winning right now. Oh, it was like $3. It was like $3. It was nothing. Here, let me go ahead and let's take a look here. So these are going to be all the promos, everything past here. Probably. I don't know if this will be the exact number, but like for the Halloween set, it'll probably be something like this. Wait, Lapras EX? Here we go. I haven't seen Lapras EX before.
All of these cards are already in the game. The Halloween set is not in the game. So anything from the Halloween set would be separate from these promos and from the Wonder Pick cards.
You think so? Because of this being a Haunter and it having a new ability, I was like, oh, Haunter is clearly going to be a Halloween themed card. But that might just be a coincidence here.
Yeah, and we have seen that Haunter. It is like one of those like kind of like very kidsy arts where he kind of just looks like a ball of like goo or whatever peeking out from behind the street.
See, this is actually huge for me because this being a promo means it'll probably be easier to get because I don't have Butterfree right now and I don't have Greninja right now. So if they have Greninjas and Butterfrees in these promos, that's going to make it so much easier for me to complete my collection.
It's really nice for Greninja because he's just such a playable card that like it's really annoying if you didn't happen to pull him. Of course, you can spend the 300 pack points, but you worked really hard to get those 300 pack points.
Yeah. Oh, and Magnemite. I don't have Magneton. But I am super interested in how they're going to, because I mean, obviously we're not going to get any content until the game launches, right? This is basically here for them just to make sure the game can stand on its 2 legs without falling apart, and to see if there's any like glaring issues people are upset with, which I would say no. Chansey, just take a look at these. Mewtwo, regular Mewtwo, right? Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I am excited.
That regular Mewtwo has a really sick full art, by the way.
It does. It's a good one. What is this?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Mew. Duh. Of course, that's Mew. The final 3-star card. So yeah, I mean, overall, this is going to be a really cool. I'm excited for all these promos. These are probably going to be, like you said, event related, and then the Halloween set will be a totally new, hopefully mechanically unique cards interjected into the game. The thing is, if it's all going to be dark type, that's kind of, hopefully it's not all dark type. Dark type maybe needs some support, but we need a little bit of, we need some metal. Make this a metal Halloween, you know? I bet it's not, but I bet the next like major big set they release will have a lot more metal in it.
I agree. I'm not sure because when you buy those packs, like historically, the last couple of years I had bought them for my kids for the Halloween sets. They're just all normal cards, right? With like specially made cards for the set, and they have a little logo in the corner, the same way that the promo is, and that inside of the actual art of the card,
Yeah.
that is a Halloween logo. That's the only difference with those cards. And I don't play the card game anymore, so I don't know if they were active cards and they were just ported over into these sets, because every single card was horrible and unplayable, right? But it doesn't matter when you're giving them to kids for Halloween.
And also, our game has a lot of horrible and unplayable cards that might just get strict improvements by something not being that horrible or that unplayable. Imagine a
And that's
reasonable
absolutely
stage
right.
1 instead that it needs to evolve into a stage 2. I'm like, wow, suddenly I don't feel bad when I don't draw Blastoise. War Turtle at least doesn't just shit his pants and then cry. You know, it's like he's like an okay card, because right now he does 40 damage for 2 energy and has 80 HP. Like, get Sand Slashed, bro. Get out of here.
Like imagine if they just printed one that was 1 energy 30 damage for War Turtle. You're like, oh my god, like now War Turtle's so much better.
Yeah, I was like, I would actually I'll use it. I could have it just sit up there and maybe do something. Instead of now, I'm like, don't attack my War Turtle. Don't ever have it in the active slot. This is an egg. This is an egg. This is a fully grown chicken. You know, it's like, there's no like egg hatching chicken, or, it's egg, full done chicken. All right, well, you know what? We're about the halfway point. Would you read our ad, our sponsor for this week? We lost our sponsor again. Thanks a lot, assholes. But it's okay. We did get another one.
Yes. Sometimes I worry that we're not going to be able to get a new sponsor. So if you guys could support us by, commenting and pressing the like button, not the like button, the light button. If you can find it, then you're smarter than everybody else.
Yeah, if you're on
All
dark
right.
mode, he's saying if you're watching YouTube on dark mode, you're doing it wrong. Okay, hit the like button.
Hit the like button. All right. So, Team Pocket presents the Shelder Mixer. Shelder Mixer isn't just powerful, it's cold to the core. With Shelder's natural ice properties, it keeps your drinks frosty without needing ice. If you need to freeze something quick, this baby's got you covered. Use freeze mode to chill anything in seconds. With the icy strength of Shelder, this mixer doesn't just blend, it cools, crushes, chills, making it the ultimate tool for any kitchen. Why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary? The Shelder Shell Mixer is tough, frosty, built to last, perfect for any trainer who's ready to bring the chill into their everyday life. Team Pocket, actually, sorry. Bringing Pokemon power to your kitchen, one blend at a time.
And
thank you to our sponsor.
And thank you to my mascot here. He was helping you ad read that video, so thank you, buddy. Yeah, so there. He stepped on my keyboard. Great. Our notes are gone. We're gonna have to make up topics, not like we have been doing. Yeah, so thank you very much to the sponsor. Massive paycheck for both of us, so you should be, honestly, we needed pretty big sponsorships in order to afford all this moving back and forth from New Zealand to the United States. So finally, now that there's a company willing to actually dish out, so that's good. Make sure you support them. Code Pocket Poll at checkout, please. But let's jump back into the conversation. So I want to talk about trading. And god damn it, this is my podcast. We're going to talk about trading. No, an error has occurred. Retry. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I won't be able to connect to the game. All right, we can. So let's go ahead and talk about trading. Trading is coming soon. We are about to lay down some nice, thick speculation for all of you on how we think it's going to work. So, Laliette, I want to hear your vision. Trading is released on global. It probably won't be. I bet it's at least a month out from global release. That way people actually can get cards naturally. But what do you think trading is? How are they going to implement this? What's it going to look like? It's in the social hub. What is trading?
So this is coming from perspective, what would Laliette do if he was, a greedy exec at a company trying to market and make some money for this game. So what
Ooh.
I would do is I would make it so that you would have to have full playset of any card before you'd ever be able to trade a card. So you'd need to have one extra of the card, right?
You can
So
only
if
trade
you have
copy
three,
3 and up. Okay.
so copy three, you can trade for same rarity, right? But I don't want you trading all the time because those extremely rare cards like cost a lot of money to get, and there's a level of variance. So I'm going to need to gatekeep you somehow. So that could look like a new currency, like a different colored hourglass, that you may earn at some kind of like really annoyingly slow speed, but that you also could pay money to accelerate.
Got it. That is I think Lost Ark does that, and they're like a very, very expensive game to play. It's like a Diablo-esque game, top-down fighter. But point is, they have an auction house that, in order to do it, you need to spend like a fee on, and each fee on costs like $1 or something in order to initiate a trade. So they say it's to stop bots, from botting and manipulating the market on a large scale. Maybe it is. I'm sure it's convenient that it also makes them money. So I actually think that system would probably work, but the idea would be, of course, they're not going to make it a paid-only service, right? It would be like you would earn one, we'll call them bells, I don't know, trading bells. You'll earn one trading bell per day. Maybe you earn 2 or 3 a week, something like that. Probably on a similar timer system because everything seems to be on a countdown timer until you unlock it. And then you'll be able to buy a certain amount of them. It probably no limit to how many you could buy. So that would be an interesting way to monetize it. I'm kind of with you. I doubt that it's going to be completely open. I am wondering if you will be able to whale past it, or if will be like you can't spend money to progress it. I'm leaning towards, I think your monetization is probably correct. As far as the trading itself, once you're actually into the trading, because I don't think they want hundreds of thousands of people trading constantly, right? I just feel like if they can get like a little piece of that action, I think that they would probably go for it. But once you're actually in, what are the rules for trading? I think it will. I don't think they'll require you to have a playset. I don't think that's the worst restriction of all time, but I don't think you'll be able to trade your last copy. I think they'll require you to have a second one, because right now visually, like I don't think they have an animation to like take cards out of your binder and undo your collection, right? I don't think they have ways to like, oh, you take the Venusaur out, or the Ivysaur out, but if you have more than one, or they could just move that number up and down. So I don't think you're gonna ever be able to go to 0 copies of a card. But I wouldn't be surprised if they don't require a playset, because I don't think they have anything in the game that UI-wise wouldn't work. But yeah, besides that, I think rarity for rarity is kind of what I'm interested in. I don't know. I feel like they have to basically do rarity for rarity. If they do any other system, I feel like it'll get gamed too hard. If they do, even if they assign a point value, right? Let's say they do the pack point value even. Like if you want to trade a Charizard crown rare and it has a pack point value of 2,500 points or a trade value of 2,500 points, and you have to equal 2,500 value of points, like that's still gameable by people. Is like, oh, guess what? I have 30 copies of, I don't know, this random Vileplume or a Venonat. Like you could clear out a lot of these cards you have a crazy amount of to equal that and do the trade. And the issue with that is that that's going to encourage selling, right? Sales in the secondary market. Their trading system is gonna have to take into account people on the secondary market trying to sell their cards. And so I think if you don't do a pure rarity for rarity trade, where I still think that will have a secondary market trade value, I think it's way, way, way less. And we can agree that there's no chance in hell it'll be an open trading system, right? That there will be no currency, no restrictions. You trade your Executor for a crown rare Pikachu. Like, they're just not going to do that, right? Like, you think that would be insanity, I assume?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think the other reason that the playset thing comes into mind is I think they're going to be worried about two things: the secondary market, of course, and people selling, and then, of course, the ability for people to re-roll accounts and basically take free to play games and send those cards to a centralized account. And then, of course, bots doing the exact same thing. So, because they're so generous when you first open the game, and in like 10 minutes you open like 40 packs, I think they need you to have that third copy because, specifically of rare cards, it's just unlikely you're going to get those. And I don't think because of how many of the common and any of the star cards that aren't EXs, they're so common that you have 10 extra of these different cards, so there's not really much value to them milking out a bunch of those cards into like one account, especially if you have to trade one card for one card, and the expensiveness of the trade with the in-game currency will probably go up with the rarity of the card, which is unfortunate because we know Plat has some extra duplicates of some pretty rare freaking cards, and those are probably going to cost more for him to be able to ship out to a friend who has, an extra one of a similar ranked card.
Yeah, like I actually think this game has monetization problems. I'd probably rather talk about it more in depth in another episode, just because it's like a decent topic. Um, but if they get this right, I think that a good trading system will completely alleviate every single monetization problem I have. But I have 4 copies of Gyarados, full art. I have 5 copies of Lapras full art. These are cards that I don't care about having this many copies of, and I don't want a flare of. So if I could trade this for even a full art of a different card that maybe I don't have a bunch of copies of, that could be good. But this is worth like 400 points or pack points, right? But to me, it's like worthless. I don't care about it at all. But I think to stay on the topic of trading, I don't think the playset thing will come up, and I think that they're not going to have issues with the re-rolling, because I think what they're going to do in my mind is they're just going to make it like you have to be level 20 before you could trade, or level 25 before you unlock trading, something like that. And that'll force you to be like, all right, even bots, like you would have to have a bot grind at your account for like, a month free to play to unlock trading, or I think they'll just have something like that as like a barrier to entry. You're not going to be able to download and immediately trade. But that's what I guess. I mean, who knows? This is what's tough about this for me, is it's such a good idea to have trading. It's such an important thing to exist in the game. For one, I think it's important to make their monetization work, where the duplicate system is you open a full art immersive Charizard, and I'm like, fuck, that sucked. I already have, that's my 3rd one. Like, I don't want it. It feels bad. So to get rid of that feeling, but because someone else out there wants it. But also it's just like the authenticity of Pokemon. Like the 90s Pokemon is all about, I traded my Raichu for a Charizard that my dad tricked a kid into getting, and then I sold that Charizard for like, to a different kid because he tricked me, and the circle of life continues, right? It's like that kind of stuff is like fun, but you got to be careful because this is a 2024 game, and people will game the shit out of your system and extract as much money from people as they can, and people will find a way to break it and manipulate it without strong guardrails. So I think they're going to announce it, and everyone's going to be upset because there's going to be more guardrails than people are predicting. There's going to be things where it's like you have to trade, you have to have a currency. You have to only trade rarity for rarity. You can't do more than 4 trades per day, even with currency. Or so there's going to be like all these rules, and it's going to seem and feel kind of bad. But I mean, I don't think you could realistically, like, imagine a gacha game where trading is a thing. Like this is like kind of a revolutionary kind of even thing that they're trying to do, I feel like. So if Marvel snap at trading, that game would lose a fuck ton of money, right? I feel like people that got really lucky on their keys and, got to just get a card, they turned out they didn't really want it, they could trade it to someone, and like, I feel like the overall money that game could make would drop a lot, which is why most games don't do this kind of thing. So the very fact that they're going to add some sort of version into this game, I think is very exciting. And as long as it's not so hamstrung as to be useless, I think that this could be very, very good. for that really bad duplicate feeling that I think people are starting to get as they catch up to the whales.
Yes, absolutely. And this goes into a topic that I want to talk about. It wasn't on our list, but this is just something that I have spent time thinking about with this game, preparing for the game before we ever even knew we were going to do a podcast. Is I was following a lot of the early articles and the press releases and stuff, and I was like, this game is really what it looks like from a business standpoint, is a way to get super casual people and children, right, into the TCG by having this like really low barrier entry to understand the game and to play the game, and it's very simple. But it gives you the ability to make money, right? We're still
Mm-hmm.
selling packs, and it can become a social game very quickly with all of the collection stuff. And you no longer have to like just be at school with your friends, even though that definitely is one way to have this kind of social interaction. And everybody remembers how much money like Clash of Clans made because everybody needed to be the best or whatever, you know. So that does add to the importance of needing these badges and these different ways of displaying your dominance or whatever. And I think that also naturally rolls over into a ranked mode, into a leaderboard, into additional game rewards. And I think when you have an IP as strong as Pokemon, like that's why we already have tournaments set up. That's why we have, you know, a ranked mode like within a server that actually calculates like different elo wins and losses and stuff, because there's such a hunger for people to be able to play something like this competitively. And the actual Pokemon TCG online product sucks so bad because it's not heavily monetized. It's one of the biggest mistakes that they made with it, mostly because they were having issues with, you know, gambling laws and things like that, and like trying to find a way to get it done. But this collection first aspect allows you to kind of build a gacha game that trades in reverse. We don't really start out as a heavy gacha game that has all of these reasons to be a gacha game. We start out as this casual collecting game, and it gives enough free rewards to where it probably can get away with not having issues with like gambling licenses and stuff like that. And then we have this really soft open with competitive play, and then as competitive play and trading increases, you now can eventually get a model where this is a heavily played game that makes a lot of money selling packs, also has a dedicated player base and lots of reasons to play the game, and is the only gacha based game that provides digital trading. But the only reason they would do digital trading in the first place is because they never planned on having competitive you know, card game playing, and it was just to help people kind of clean up their casual collection. So I think this hits on so many amazing points where there's just a bunch of opportunities. I'm not going to promise you they're going to take these opportunities, but I think they were blown away by the amount of money they initially made, and I think that's going to reap benefits on redesigning the inner workings of, what do you call that? When your plan for like the next 6 months is called a roadmap, right? So their roadmap has already completely changed what they were expecting to do, and I'm super excited to see a real roadmap, because I think their goal of casual people and children is going to shift completely when they see the dollar signs.
Yeah, I absolutely like agree with you. I think this game is kind of destined for success. Like one thing I think Nintendo does is I feel like they, or whoever's in charge of this, I feel like they constantly undervalue how much people like Pokemon, how much like they always target kids, and kids like Pokemon still, yes, but kids like a lot of stuff. Like they like Minecraft more than they like Pokemon at these dates, probably. They like all kinds of stuff. 30-year-olds fucking love Pokemon, man. 30-year-olds got money. 30-year-olds they see Pokemon they want to get, and they say a competitive card game that has an active scene, they like getting in on that kind of stuff. We love finding new shit to nerd out about and think about. And I'm sitting there at I'm a janitor. I'm sitting there taking out trash, cleaning a toilet, and I'm like, yeah, man, Charizard EX and Moltres, talk about a deck, bro. I'm thinking about things that are distracting me from my day-to-day life that are really, really engaging. So I think that they've got a real winner on their hands here. As long as when Global comes out, they deliver, because I do think there is a risk if they don't have a lot of eye-catching stuff to do, that they could fall flat in a couple weeks. And that's not to say if day one it comes out, everyone jumps in and the game is dead if there's nothing new. Like, I think they actually have like a solid week before they need to add anything, because most players will still just be playing the normal game. But I do think you're gonna, yeah, as long as they stick the landing, I think they are gonna have a real, I actually think they will have a Marvel Snap competitor on their hands, because although Marvel Snap was gameplay first, kind of, it was also integrated. You had to level up. They were kind of geniuses. You could only level up that game by leveling up your collection. So they made you have to care about your collection, even if you don't care about your collection, in order to do it. But no matter what, the IP, like, people aren't as like, oh yeah, I got White Widow, let's go. People will lose their shit over Pokemon, I feel like, a lot more, but I don't know. I think that's about it for this week. Is there any final thoughts or questions that we had that you want to make sure we get to, or anything you want to close out with?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that some people have completed the entire collection, including all of the rarest cards and the crown rares. And you do get a little pop-up that shows up and kind of says, you did it, you are a whale. And there's no other rewards, which was super disappointing. The only excuse I can find, and this is what Platt said as soon as I told him, is they just didn't think anybody in the first month was going to actually do that. And that just proves to you how little they understand the strength of the IP, how much demand there is for a product like this.
Yeah, that's so funny that nothing. It's almost like an insult. They're like, "Wow, you did it!" It was a question mark at the end, right? The pop-up has a question mark. It's like, but why? It's like, the game's not going anywhere, buddy. Yeah, you're chasing your demons. You're instead of if you're trying to get the whole collection in the first month. But yeah, nothing comes up. I guess you don't get any special artwork. There is the Mew, but everyone knows about that at this point. It's basically when you complete your base collection, not including all the starred variants of cards, or you get one copy of every card in the game. I think it doesn't have. I think even if you have like a star promo version or something, that'll count towards the Mew collection as well. Although I'm not 100% sure, if I'm honest. But point is, once you get everything, you just kind of get a middle finger right now, which is really funny. So don't feel like you need to rush there. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up. We were gonna look at a deck today, but we ended up talking about too much other stuff, which is, hey, you know what? I love it. All right, we'll make sure we do a deck review next week. So actually, you know what? Maybe the viewers can send us your deck lists. Maybe if you want to leave a question, leave it down below. Just say pocket poll, and then leave your question, and we'll get to it at the end of the podcast. We'll make sure we make time for it. And then also, maybe if you want to submit a deck list, you can go into my Discord, directly DM me or Laliette. We'll just do me for now, and then we'll very honestly review your deck. Yeah, and we'll pick one. Anyway, that's all for today. Laliette, final closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts is, we're blasting off again.
We're